Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning into the TV9 network. Elections in the United Kingdom have begun, ladies and gentlemen. Polling began about 7 a.m. local time. Is going to continue right up until 10 p.m. in the night, after which some exit polls are going to start trickling in. And just like back at home, they don't call it here. As soon as a particular party crosses the 362 figure, the magical mark out of the possible 650 seats in the House of Commons, the lower chamber of the UK Parliament, well, then Sky Network, BBC, all those top-notch prime networks start telling you which party has won it. And the next day, when the people get up at about 8 a.m., everybody has a clearer picture as to what has happened. Now, of course, we've got three prime parties at play over here. You've got the Conservatives, most likely on their way out. The Labour Party asking and begging people across all newspaper dailies for a change. Now, are they the right people for this particular change is why people are now trickling in and stepping out and voting at this point in time. Now, I'm currently in front of the Finchley Baptist Church. This is the Finchley and the Golders Green constituency, and let me just take you through all the candidates over here. Of course, in the shape of the Conservative and the Unionist Party, you've got Alex Dean. It's a top-notch name. We'll have to wait and find out as to is he going to be able to manage to backtrack on the challenge that the Labour Party has thrown his way. Steve Parsons appearing for the Green Party, Catherine Margaret Murphy, Party of Women, and from the Nigel Farage's Reform UK Party, you've got Giuseppe Puzzelli. Now, again, a stark comparison as to what Marine Le Pen is doing in France in terms of her far-right party, and how Nigel Farage, a Thatcher-era politician, has been doing in the United Kingdom. Stark contrast over there. But you've got Sarah Sackman of the Labour Party over here. Now, telling you a little bit about Sarah Sackman. She's a Labour Party candidate in the Finchley and the Golders Green constituency in this particular general elections. Her statement to voters in today's newspapers read that I love Finchley and the Golders Green area. This statement was updated yesterday and was added by Sarah Sackman and her team. The party manifesto has been out, but we've been trying to speak to people that are coming in here, people from Public Works Department, people that are walking their pets and their dogs, taking a quick stroll inside the polling station and coming out really quickly. It seems like there's not a huge queue like you see back home in India. People just walk in, they show their voter ID or their photo identification card, which, by the way, is happening for the first time across the United Kingdom and the Wales and the Northern Ireland area, that you now need a photograph ID to go in and vote. But more interestingly and importantly, the elderly population very cutely coming out in couples, in helping each other out and going in and casting their ballot. I've been trying to ask them, who are they voting for? What are the issues that they're voting for? Not many people want to talk to the camera at the moment, but when I ask them, have you voted for change? There's a little bit of a grin and a smile that does crop up. We're going to continue to talk to some people over here in the Finchley area before we finally make our way into the Westminster Abbey, right underneath the tower, the Big Ben, the lower house of the UK Parliament, to try and get some voices from there as well. But listen in to some people. What do they have to say about elections in the Finchley and the Golders Green area as well? Well, Leo joins us here in the Finchley and the Golders Green constituency area. I'm right outside that polling booth. Leo, what are some of the top issues that you've thought about before casting your ballot?
So in general, this country is in a far worse off position than it was 14 years ago when the Conservatives were voted into power. And what most people want, especially young people, they want change. They want a fresh style of leadership to try and bring this country forward through the challenges it faces. And that's the problems with the NHS, the health service, problems with immigration. The Conservatives have been very bad on immigration. Labour will hopefully bring a brighter approach. And I think also on house building is a very important topic, which the Conservatives are very slow, and it brings us to economic decline, and Labour really give us some fresh perspective.
I clearly understand that there's a great deal of fatigue when you're looking at the Conservative 14-year rule. 14 years is a long time for any ruling dispensation, to be honest. But do you think that to go for change, Labour Party is the right way?
So first of all, you have to be realistic with who can win. And the more extremer to the left parties don't stand really a chance of winning. I think one thing is important, just the character of the party. The Conservative Party throughout COVID, their leaders, Boris Johnson, were throwing parties, and they're all involved in scandal after scandal, their MPs. And you see Keir Starmer, or our local candidate here, Sarah Sackman, and they're very nice, agreeable people who care about local issues, national issues.
What are some of the local issues in the Finchley Golders Green area?
So locally, this constituency, last time its vote was very much swayed by anti-Semitism allegations against the Labour Party. And I think Sarah Sackman, her approach, and Keir Starmer have very much changed Labour's approach to anti-Semitism and racism, and they're a much more attractive option now for voters in this area.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, man. Well, Ollie joins us here in the Finchley Golders Green area. Ollie, what are some of the local issues that you've kept in your mind before you head inside that room and cast your vote?
Well, if I'm being completely honest, this is really an election not about local issues, as far as I can tell. Most people here are looking for a broader change across the country. You know, the winds have turned against the Conservatives and people want change. And broadly speaking, when we look around this constituency, the past 14 years don't seem to have served Finchley Golders Green everything that they've wanted. So it seems that people are choosing between the Liberal Democrats and Labour. And in terms of local issues, it's schools, as always, it's hospitals and healthcare, it's social care for older people. Those are the issues I think that really matter. In London, because we're in London, ULEZ is a big issue, but personally I'm not that bothered by it because I don't drive that often.
What I've picked up so far from newspaper headlines and my conversations over the last couple of days, it seems like Rishi Sunak and the Conservatives are on their way out. Now the bigger question is, how long do you think the Labour government is going to be able to sustain itself? I've been reading a lot of poll surveys. They're saying it could be 2 terms, possibly 3 terms, but it's not here to stay for a very long time. What do you reckon?
But I guess if we look back through history, generally governments manage to do 2 or 3 terms. So you have to go quite a long way back before you see a single-term government. And I mean, Blair had over a decade, and obviously the Tories have just had 14 years, and before that you had the Thatcher major Conservative government. So I think we'll probably see a number of terms. But I think what's going to be interesting is at this election people are pushed to the left by the Tories. They don't want the Tories. But we'll see if at the next election people are able to stay with the left because they actually want to have a Labour government, or if maybe the middle ground takes up some significant advantages at the next election with the Lib Dems.
What you see happening in France right now with Marine Le Pen and the far-right party, I mean, take a look at the absolute, thumping majority in popularity, if I could say that, that has come about. Nigel Farage's UK Reform Party also toes to that far-right notion, but hasn't been able to, capture the imagination of the constituents, particularly.
I guess I've got a 2-fronted response to that. So in the first case, I think it was a tactical error by Macron to call an election after he'd just seen the voters turn out so heavily against him. And I think he's going to definitely look back at that and regret his decision. And also think it's interesting that the far left in France, or the more left than Macron wing of French politics, has significantly moved out in force, squeezing him on both sides from the right and the left. But in terms of the UK and Farage, I think we have to be very worried about the far right in this country, particularly if after this election the Conservative Party look at how poorly they've done and decide they need to significantly move to the right to recapture those votes. I think that'd be a great mistake for British democracy, and we should really value the liberal tradition that this country is so proud of.
All right. Thanks, Ollie, for speaking with us. Best of luck. Well, Martin and Elizabeth join us here this bright sunny morning. UK elections are underway. Voting is going to continue till 10 p.m. Tomorrow, the picture is going to get clear. But, I've been trying to understand who people are going to vote for. Now, I'm not going to put you in a spot and ask you who you voted for or are going to, but are you voting for change? And what are some of the local issues or national issues that you've kept in your mind? Elizabeth.
Well, obviously the cost of living and, something has to happen because everything has been a mess in the last few months. Well, actually a couple of years. I found it really difficult to decide who to vote for. And in the end, I went for a candidate who is local, who is part of my community and is aware of the local issues. And the local issues are really the things like the potholes in the roads and what else would you think, Martin?
What about you,
The
Martin?
general,
Yeah.
I was more concerned about national issues, and I found it very difficult to make up my mind. I very nearly voted for the Rejoin EU candidate simply because I didn't think my vote for either of the main parties would make any real difference to the total outcome. And just to show that there is a voice for rejoining the EU, I thought it might be useful to have an X in his box. But in the end, I went for a party that's going to govern, and I want them to govern fairly and in the interests of the whole country. They're a party of for the nation. Local issues should be dealt with locally by our local authorities. That's my view.
Right, Martin and Elizabeth, many thanks for taking out the time. Well, Yehuda Sauce now joins us here in Finchley. So before you step in and cast your vote, what is it that's going on inside your mind? Are you voting for change as well?
I hope that the right party will win and will be some changes. I hope the changes will be the right one that everybody wants, and whoever it is, good luck to them.
All right. And what are some of the issues that are in your mind when you're going in and voting?
The national health, the everything that's people talking about, housing, national health.
All right. All right.
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.